Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. Happy Friday to you all. We all made it through the week. It was a little bit of a turbulent week in Bitcoin miners as well. Not much going on as far as news is concerned. We do have obviously the biggest story from Marathon saying that they're going to reach 50 exahash. We're going to take a look at that. We'll also take a look at Bitfarms. There's a new story out from them. And then we're also going to take a look at the joules per terahash on the miners, what they are right now, and what they're going to be in the future based on their future purchases of basically new hash rate. Okay, so we'll take a look at all that, and we are still way out from the next halving event, 1,429 days. And you can see down below that obviously the miners haven't done too good today. Okay, but let's get into it here. We're going to go through this first, which we always do. And as you know, this is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. Corrections will be posted to Discord, YouTube, Twitter. I'm not paid by any of the public Bitcoin mining companies. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what's going on here with Bitcoin and the Bitcoin miners today. You can see here that obviously Bitcoin has been on a little bit of a downtrend here in the last 2 days. We were down yesterday about 1.16%. We were down today 1.65% on the day. And obviously our support didn't really last that long here at 63,500, something like that, or 63,700, right around there, this green line right here. We are below it now, obviously, today. We kind of closed right at that point there, but we're obviously trending lower on the new day. And our next support line is going to be here right around 61,000, right? It has acted as pretty good support in the past. We bounced off of it. We'll see if we can continue to bounce off of it, or if we're going to get actually denied here and go below further, which we haven't done in a while here. We haven't been below that spot here since basically February, late February, right at this 57,500 mark, something like that. Okay, so that's kind of what we got going on here right now. We got the weekend, obviously. I don't expect too big of a moves in Bitcoin over the weekend. We'll see. And then we'll obviously have next week coming up here, which is going to be heading into May now. My gosh, time is flying here. And we do have a start of obviously reporting seasons, revenue season for the miners. We got right on I think May 1st reporting the very first one, which will be great to see. Plus they have a conference call on that one, which is also nice to see that they're doing that. I think they've obviously heard the voices of investors saying what's going on with not having any conference calls. So that's good there. And then we can see here on the miners for the most part were in the red today. We had a couple that were in the green. Marathon was up 2.21%. DigiHost was up 4.55%. Cores was up 0.58%. Cypher was up 1.58%. And BitDigital was up 3.59%. I thought Marathon would maybe pump a little bit harder than it did actually today. And maybe that's because Bitcoin was down today. Maybe that took out some of the steam that I think it might have had, obviously, otherwise. Because it's great news that they're going to be getting to 50 exahash here this year. Or at least that's their goal. But we'll take a look at it here. Okay, so that's that part of it. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick while we're at it. We haven't done this in a couple of days, so we might as well do that. Refresh this, go to the 30-day average, which is what I like to look at. And yeah, I mean, network hash rate is still going up. We're at 625 exahash right now. There is no stopping to it right now. If we look at the Bitcoin transaction fees, those have kind of cooled off a little bit. They're averaging at about like a half a Bitcoin per block recently here. We'll see if that maintains or if it drops even more, but it's still better than nothing. Okay. All right. First story here is, well, we'll just touch on Bitfarms here really quick. So Bitfarms schedules first quarter 2024 conference call on May 13th, 2024. So that's when they're going to be doing theirs. There were quite a few questions on that one in the comments and in the live stream that we did on Wednesday. So now we know when that's coming out here. So we'll have obviously a busy 2 weeks here in May when all these companies start reporting their quarterly results and then also their production updates for May. So it's going to be a busy time then. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And next here, there's the big story. Marathon Digital Holdings increases 2024 hash rate target to 50 exahash, which is obviously great news here. This is basically a double from where they started the year at. But here's what we have here. So Marathon today announced that the company is increasing its hash rate target for fiscal year 2024 from 35 to 37 exahash to 50 exahash, right? And so that's great. Marathon began 2024 with approximately 24.7 exahash energized and had been planning to grow its hash rate by approximately 46% to 35 to 37 exahash by the end of the year. Based on the current machine orders and available capacity following its recent acquisitions, Marathon now expects to grow its operations to approximately 50 exahash by the end of 2024. The new target represents approximately 100% growth in hash rate during 2024 and it's fully funded based on Marathon's current liquidity position. So that's great there. We don't know if part of that funding was used through the ATM. They didn't specify here. They do have, I think, an ATM for like 1.5 billion, but they didn't specify whether that was part of it that they used or whether it was just the cash on hand that they have and everything else here. Okay, a little bit light on news as far as miners are concerned. Which miners are they buying? What's the terahash on those? Joules per terahash? We have absolutely nothing on that information. They're keeping it close to the chest, unfortunately. So we have to run some numbers, make some best guess estimates on what they possibly are having in there. And I'll show you guys what I have here for them in a minute, but that's what I'm going off here. We'll see. Okay. Continue on here. Given the amount of capacity we have available following our recent acquisitions and the amount of hash rate we have access to through current machine orders and options, we now believe it is possible for us to double the scale of Marathon's mining operations in 2024 and achieve 50 exahash by the end of the year, said Fred Thiel, Marathon's chairman and CEO. With our current liquidity position, with this growth target is also fully funded, and there's no need for us to raise additional capital to achieve our objective. By deploying state-of-the-art equipment and our own proprietary technology, we also believe that we can improve our fleet efficiency and approach 21 joules per terahash as we grow to 50 exahash. So I don't know if that's combined for them to be at 50 exahash, that they're going to be looking to be at 21 joules per terahash at that point. But that's kind of the way I understand it here. We also believe that we can improve our fleet efficiency and approach 21 joules per terahash as we grow to 50 exahash. That's kind of the way I understand it. Kind of a little confusing there, but here's what I have for them. Let's get into Marathon here really quick. And like I said, really no details on the miners themselves. So I'm kind of using the numbers that we had from the last update that they provided. They're adding an additional, what was it, 30 some exahash, I think it was, or sorry, what was it, petahash? 7 exahash potentially here, right? So I'm using the same numbers there. We added some of those additional miners here as well to get them to the 50 exahash down here. And based on what they reported as 21 joules per terahash right here, this is what I have for the miners running at like 3,785 watts per miner, potentially. I'm not sure. It would be nice to actually have some good data on it, but we don't. So I'm kind of guessing here based on the numbers that we have here. And that obviously includes running all of their other miners as well. Right, they haven't provided anything information that they're going to be unplugging some older miners. And maybe they will unplug some of these 100 terahash miners, which at that point would obviously lower their watts here. Because right now, looking at these here, we have them at, if we do this, let's see here, what is that going to be? This divided by that, we have these running at approximately like 19 joules per terahash, something like that. My math is correct here, 195. Yeah, this would be like 19 joules per terahash or something like that. Still really good machines going forward, but, and I'm guessing these are going to be also the Dime machines. That's kind of what we're seeing them moving towards. So we'll see. Okay, but that's kind of where we have them at right now. And them getting to 50 exahash would obviously be a good thing. They need to obviously fix their operations a little bit, things like that. I probably should have pulled it up for their Mara pool to see what they're operating at like right now. But as we've known over the last 3 months, their operations haven't been the greatest. And hopefully they get those things fixed there and get to a more decent uptime, which obviously would be really good. And I think the stock will do really well going forward. It's definitely one of the best or the biggest miners here right now. They have a lot to prove, obviously. But if they can do that, they will do very, very well going forward into this year, especially if the price starts to go up and rally. But yeah, so this is great news, okay? Next here, let's take a look at the joules per terahash really quick. We won't spend too much time on it. We're just going to go over the data that we have right now on the miners. And we'll call it a day. Pretty easy day today. So this is going to be on the data sheet, on the data sheet, or the spreadsheet data sheet labeled here. And we got some financial growth metrics here, right? We have some financial metrics here as well. And then I've started adding some operational metrics as well. I did this today. I just took their current joules per terahash based on the current fleet, what they're operating at. Right, this is just a best guess estimate based on what they provided either in the reports as far as purchases and what the joules per terahash were on the miners at that point, or if we're using some of the older information that's not available as far as joules per terahash, I'm using the data from the manufacturer's websites for the machines that they did state that they were purchasing at that time. Okay, so that's kind of where we're getting the numbers from. And here's what we have here. So BitDeer right now is going to be is at 32.59 joules per terahash. Once they fully install what they have already purchased, to get to a certain amount of, I probably should have included also hash rate in here, what they're going to be. But you guys can always look that up. The future joules per terahash is going to be 26, so that's a nice improvement, 20% decrease in joules per terahash, which is good. And then you got Bit Digital here, 27.97 right now. Future is going to be 27.59. They don't have that much left to install. They did state that they want to grow. I think they want to double their hash rate to like 6 exahash this year, but we don't have any information on any miners that they have purchased yet. Okay. And then we have Bit Digital here at 29.9 currently. They're going to get down to 21.01. That's a 30% decrease. That's really good there. Cypher 26.33 right now, getting down to 24.3. Cypher also has options to buy more miners this year, but they haven't exercised that yet. If they do, I think they can lower that even more. Right now, it's about an 8% decrease. Then you got CleanSpark here, 24.29, going down to 18.55 joules per terahash, which is, I think, the lowest here. Yeah, it's the lowest out of the bunch here right now. That's a 24% decrease here. Core Scientific is at 27.15, going down to 26.2, again, based on what they have reported as being purchased for miners right now. And they have also stated they are going to be growing their hash rate this year as well, but we don't have any information on the miners yet. So that's kind of where they're at. That's a 3% decrease. Then you got Hive Digital here, 27.31 right now, joules per terahash, going down to 23.63. That's a 13% decrease for them. Then you got Hut 8 at 33.42 right now. Hut has reported that they took off some miners. I'm waiting on some of the details, maybe in the April report. Maybe we'll get some of that data. So that might come down a little bit here. And then their future is still at 33.42. They haven't reported as buying anything newer. Right, they're kind of going to be using some of the older equipment here, so that's kind of the data I have on them right now. So that's 0% decrease in that. Then you get Iris Energy here at 26.25, going down to 21.96. That's a 16% decrease. Marathon at 24.12, going down to 21 joules per terahash. That's a 13% decrease. Then you got Riot Platforms 29.25, going down to 20.96. That's a 28% decrease. And then last, you got Tero at 24.3. Going down to 24.56, that's actually an increase. Let's take a look at Tero if that doesn't make sense to me. Let's see what's going on here. 24.56 here, and that is based on, which ones are we using? Oh, I'm using all the data here for all the miners, except for potentially these ones. Yeah, those were taken out, looks like maybe. And that also includes their JV, so that's why. And then here, I think I'm using their self-mining only. Self-mining, yeah, 24.3. So it'd be 22.33 if we use that. So let's use that number there for, since we're using all of them up here. Let's see here. Where was I? Data sheet. Okay. So we'll change that over to, that one's, let's see, 24. Why is that? 24.3. Okay, that's the same number there because that's basically, we have a little bit of growth left here, but not much. 24.3 JVs, 24.3, 24.56. Okay, so we should be using that number, 24.3. And we are 24. Why am I getting all? Okay, so if we look at, sorry, see, these are the wonderful pitfalls of doing all this data here. So here, we're only using, let's see here, we're using the actual miners that they have for their self-mining. And yeah, that's why. And then here I'm using all the miners, so we should probably update this for their self-mining also. So I'll do that. So numbers will probably be a little bit lower going forward, but just so you know, they're off a little bit here right now. Okay, going back here, where was I at? Data sheet. Okay, so that's the kind of way things stack up right now on it. I will get this corrected later on this weekend. I'll get this fixed for TeraWolf here because that's obviously a mistake there for them because I'm just confusing the two between joint venture and the combined JV and self-mining as well. But that will get corrected, okay? Otherwise, best improvement here is obviously going to be, I think, looks like Bitfarms right now, if they can get to the 21 exahash that they plan to get to by the end of the year, followed by Riot, obviously, 28 as well, but that's, Riot's is going to be a little bit of a mixed bag here. Because I think they have some miners not getting into their facility until 2025. They are also swapping out some of these older miners as well. So that's going to change for them as well. So that should improve things going forward for them. So we'll try to get those adjustments as best I can going forward. So that, and then who else here? You got good improvements here. You got CleanSpark with 24% decrease. And then you got BitDeer 20% as well. potentially. So that's pretty good there as well. And the reason this is important, obviously, is the lower the joules per terahash that you can get to with future installations is you're going to be paying less for electricity compared to your peers. Even though if you might have a little bit higher electricity cost, that can offset greatly the cost on it as well. The lower the joules per terahash efficiency, the lower the cost you're going to have basically on your electricity side of things as well for your overall fleet. Okay, so that is it. As always, the spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. That's available through the link in the description. That's $8 a month, and there might be some spots open at like $4 and $5. And if you pay a annual subscription for it, you get 10% off as well. And then you get access to our private Discord server as well in there. Okay, so that's it. That's my sales pitch. You guys are my basically bosses here. You and the viewers, well, you the viewers and Patreon members and YouTube members. You guys obviously help greatly support and fund this channel. Okay, for me to continue to do this. So I greatly appreciate you guys there. And then we'll see what happens over the weekend. I doubt anything's going to happen over the weekend. I think we'll just take a look at the data, obviously, for the miners as far as how did they perform over the last week compared to Bitcoin miners. And maybe we'll look at some other metrics as well to see how the miners are doing now and going into the future as well. We'll see what we can pull up. But that's it. No spaces this weekend. The BTC guy, the BTC mining guy and I are taking basically a weekend off. I have a birthday party to attend to tomorrow. He's obviously busy as well, and then we'll get back to the swing of things next week, which is going to be, I think, May 4th. I think we have a pretty good lineup right now of CEOs and people from, CEOs and executives from other companies as well. That should be a good space there. I think we're targeting, I might be wrong on this, but I think it's going to be like at 12 o'clock at noon. Okay, but that is it. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It's actually going to be nice where I live, maybe a little rain, but I'm looking forward to getting outside, doing some stuff in the yard, which I always love doing. I love having a nice green yard and things like that. So, and I find it to be very relaxing. So I know I'm strange, but that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy your weekend.